and welcome to this video on torch firing. It's evening now, so I've decided to do this quick video clip with the lights off so you can see the glow. I'm going to be using a butane gas torch, which I'm just going to switch on, and as you can see the flame here, I'm going to be using the end of the blue flame. I've already got my piece to be fired on a block, so this is a soldering block. And this is PMC Flex, which I've made earlier today, and I've dried it for a couple of hours in a dehydrator, so I know it's absolutely dry. The reason it has to be dry is because if not, you're going to get bubbles in it. So if you ever get any bubbles in your PMC, it is simply that's moisture that's been left behind. So as you can see here, I've also got a mirror. And in the olden days, when we used PMC Plus or PMC 3, we used to be able to do the mirror test, which meant you could check for condensation. Now here's the binder burning off. Now this is a totally non-toxic organic binder. And the reason that we can only torch fire pieces the size and thickness of a 50p piece is because you're going to have this binder burning off and you don't really want a small bonfire. So there you go. Once it's burnt off, that's it. It won't burn off again because, as you know, you can fire PMC as many times as you want. The next stage, as you can see, if you're really good, is that it's going to curl slightly around the edges. And now I'm going to set my timer for 2 minutes. And as you can see, it's curling around the edges, which means that it's now going through the shrinkage. Now PMC Flex will shrink approximately 12%. This is also the stage if you've got any badger balm left over in it or a couple of hairs from the cat, that all burns off at this point. And now you should be able to see, if my camera is working well, turn into a pale orange glow. Now you're aiming for that pale orange glow rather than red, because if you go to red it will be melted. I'm not quite sure if you can see this on here, but it should be a sort of a melon colour. Obviously it turned this colour a bit earlier on, so that's why I've already been able to set the timer for 2 minutes. And the 2 minutes is merely a guideline. So the sintering time, so that's the time that it glows orange, has to be a minimum of 2 minutes. If you're not sure, you can do it longer or you can fire it again. You can fire PMC as many times as you want, as long as you want, as long as you abide by the minimum firing times and the minimum firing temperature. Now this is doing really well. As you can see, hopefully it should have flattened itself out. So if a piece is still curled after firing, it simply hasn't reached the minimum sintering time. So do fire it again. So the fact that it's flat means that it is sintering. And of course I've drilled the holes a little bit bigger than I needed to allow for the jump rings in this piece, because again, of course, any holes that I've drilled will also shrink 10 to 15%. Now what I'm doing here, as you can see, is that I'm just keeping the piece heated, and I do get sometimes asked the question if you have to flip it over and fire it on the other side. You don't. It's just oh, there we go, that's about 2 minutes up. I'll fire it a little bit longer. You only need to fire it on one side. So anything that's the size and thickness of a 50p piece that is flat and that does not contain things like natural gemstones, glass or ceramics, i.e. anything that can't handle the instant temperature, can be fired with a torch. So plain PMC and fireproof gemstones can be fired with a torch. Okay, so that's done. I'm just going to switch the gas off. Now the natural state of silver is white, so your piece will always be white whether it's fired properly or not. So that's why the firing is so important when you do it. So here it is. I've just got a bowl of water here in a Pyrex dish, and because it doesn't contain any gemstones, I can pop it into the Pyrex dish, and as you can hear, there's a slight sizzle there, and it's instantly cold, and you can see now that it's silver. Thank you for watching.